Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Soave, and at the request of John Teddy from the group Growing Up on Freestyle Music, he'd asked me to reach out to you guys and give you the story of how the song Crying Over You was created, who was it created for, and how we came up with the song itself. So there's a lot of different questions on how that song really arrived, and I'm sure there's a lot of stories about it, but I'm going to tell you the truth about it and how Crying Over You was developed. So the reality was that I was lucky and privileged enough to be one of the co-writers on Crying Over You, but I was not the originating person who wrote Crying Over You, and I can't take credit for that because most of the song was written by a young lady named Valerie Puig. Valerie Puig was a young lady that in high school was going out with my producer Owen Soba, or if you've listened to my music, when I say OS, break it down, or OS is Owen Soba. So Owen and Valerie were going out in high school, and after a less than exciting breakup, she was left in an unhappy situation in her life, and I think that the story was that she was writing a poem to him in one of her classes, either a math class or something like that, and she was in the back of the class sitting there writing a poem called Crying Over You, and later on that poem was turned into a song. Owen Soba had gotten a record deal with Micmac Records, and he had already signed an artist called Tonasia, who did Wondering, and he was looking for another artist. So Micmac had given him the ability to go ahead and look for another artist, and the project that they were going to be working on was Crying Over You. So in I guess they were looking around, and he had auditioned a few people, and I was managed by a gentleman named George Vascones, who is now in heaven, but he was my he's gone now, but he was my manager, and probably one of the greatest men in the world because he believed in me like nobody else, and also managed Judy Torres and Johnny O and Cynthia and EXO, Solid, who else? A whole bunch of other artists, George Lamont back in the day. But at any rate, so I got the audition to do Crying Over You, and I went into the studio. Basically, there was no actual melody. It was the idea of the song was very monotone, and basically they asked me to sing these words, and all they had were the two verses, the two first verses, with a hook, but not much life in the song, and the way they wanted me to sing it. So here I am, I'm 18 years old, first time second time in the studio, and I go in, really nice sounding studio, put the headphones on, they're saying, okay, we want you to say, crying over you is all I can do when you're loving someone new. I'm crying over you. You've led me to believe that all your love is true, but now you're seeing someone new, and I'm crying over you. And that's exactly what I did, and I guess I did it that way because I was told to, and I was a kid. It was my first opportunity, so I certainly didn't want to be rude. But I did exactly what they said, and after the second or third time, I was, kind of answered back in the mic and said, "Would you mind if I give it a little more flavor?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, I kind of think this song could be a little bit more exciting, and the rest was history. And that's when I did it. As I sat by the window, just thinking of you, the pain and deception. So I gave the song life with the melody that I came up with. They had the direction, and I gave it life with the melody, and I wrote my portions of the writing part or aspect of it was the beginning where I said, "I gave you all my love, girl." I wrote all that part. I wrote the third verse, which I actually never sing in shows, just because the radio edit never included it, and it was just something that I thought the mass of people who listened to the song, which were radio derivative, people who were origin from the radio listening to it, I thought they wouldn't really know the third verse. But that was the girl, when I touched you, I thought your heart was mine, but now I see the love we shared was all in my mind. But one day you will realize just how my love's true, And if you guys know that song, you'll know the verse. And I also sang, I also wrote the part that goes, I gave you all my love. So there was quite a good, a few spots in there that I wrote that were keys to the song, and I think that, made the song have life. But the real part of the song that was written was not mine, and it was certainly Valerie. So I want to make sure that she knows, and everyone in the world knows it, that she was the one who wrote that song. And Owen, just kind of helped put some of that together with her. But as a matter of fact, as the urban legend goes, somewhere to this day, there's still that poem that was written by Valerie, and it's in a frame somewhere. So man, I gotta tell you, I would love personally to get a copy of that. Whether or not I get to put it in the frame or keep the original, but I would just love to even get a copy of the original and put it on the wall somewhere, because it was a special moment. So that's the story behind Crying Over You. And no, I never wrote it for anybody. It wasn't meant for anybody. And like everyone else in life, we all go through bad breakups. So at the time of the release, I had been going through a bad breakup, and it just happened to sound really good to say he wrote this song for somebody, but I didn't write it for anybody at all. As a matter of fact, the person that I had that bad breakup with, I was actually with that person when the song came out, so I can't write something about somebody that I'm with. But yeah, so that's what happened, and I hope that was cool. There's a lot of other great stories that I got to have in this freestyle world, in this life that I got to live for the last 25 years. So thank you guys for listening, and that's the story behind Crying Over You. Love you. Thank you.